you'll start hitting 99% of your shots effortlessly if you just learn the hidden rules of aiming. The rules I'm going to give you will immediately make you levels ahead of everyone else. Rule number 1, movement reading. You need to start looking at the signs your opponent gives in game that tell you exactly how to aim and where to aim so you never miss. In Apex, before a target moves in any direction, the animation gives you a cue of when they're going to change direction. Left and right has an animation, even jumping, and they all start to happen before the enemy actually moves. It's like you're playing chess. The movement animation is the play that lets us predict the next move, except our predictions are 100% accurate. This is going to literally give you future sight, and you'll see your enemies move before they even register. Your enemy's gonna wonder, how the hell are you pulling off this Matrix shit, reacting instantly? But me and you will know that we know something they don't. But the only way for this to completely work is to combine this with watching the speed or acceleration of the target. In Apex, the targets are not moving as fast as you think they are. They de-accelerate before accelerating again, meaning they slow down every time they change direction. So you should be doing the same thing at every turn if you want perfect aim. Yes, it's all in your head, buddy. You really think these random, finger-licking, Dorito-eating, unathletic players are able to move like Wally West and react to that speed while aiming at you at the same time? No, it's the fear plus the want of you really trying to hit your shots and not die that is causing you to add extra motion on your screen, which makes the enemies on your screen harder to read. We're human, man. Things need to be clear for our brains to work. So since the target always slows down in direction change, you should slow down your aim too. Which do you think is easier to read? The target, this aim or this aim? I don't even have to say nothing. In fact, sometimes I stop moving my mouse for a millisecond because when the target changes directions, the hitbox doesn't actually move any distance. In reality, you could really stop moving your crosshair right here and still hit every shot. So in this case, trying really hard does nothing. So relax, bro. This is why I preach so much about minimal movement. Moving less and more efficiently actually rewards you a ton in game. Just about everyone full panics and starts frantically moving side to side in their strafe and in their aim. But in reality, if you want to stop your games and damage from looking like this, then I highly suggest you calm the fuck down. And since you're watching this and they aren't, you'll have the advantage. Play with confidence, man. I see you slouching. Put your chest out. It's just a game. You're not actually getting shot at in real life. There is no reason for you to be acting all scared with your heart pounding out of your chest. Once you're entirely calm with your whole being, not just your hand, you'll realize you'll be rewarded with seeing the situation for how it really is. But many players actually struggle to reach this level because they've been doing one thing wrong their entire lives, and that's when to look at the target and when to look at the crosshair. Unless the target is as small as the crosshair or close to it, then just pay full attention to the target. No weird shit, but I need you to fall in love with the target. That way you'll actually focus on it, because there is a difference. I see you looking at me funny because of what I just said, but let me explain. See, when you just look at this windmill as a whole, the individual parts look like just a blur. But when you actually focus your eyes on tracking one, it becomes so clear. Having your full attention on the target makes everything I just mentioned so easy. The target becomes slow, the animations are clear. But the good thing about humans is we have peripheral vision. So while focusing on the target, use your peripheral vision on the environment around the targets too. This is because depending on the environment your enemy is in, it can dictate their movements. If you see them strafing close to an object, you'll already know in your mind where they're going to be forced to move next. Unless their brain looks like this, then they'll never keep looking into a wall. What's even better is recognizing this lets us aim even easier. The hitbox of your enemy when they reach this point actually doesn't move anywhere. So if you pay attention, you can actually start to leave your crosshair still when it reaches this point, so that if they choose to be a dumbass and keep staying close to the wall, or even if they strafe back, you continue to hit for 100% accuracy. Now, with all the things I've mentioned, this actually removes any sort of guessing. I don't want to see you randomly guessing which way your enemy is going to go. Stop that. You look crazy, my boy. Start reading your opponents to know what they are going to do. I keep repeating this, but that's why minimal movements are so good. It makes it so much easier to see and actually keep track of your opponent. And if it's easier to focus on them, then it's easier to read them. And don't worry if you haven't built up the skills yet. Now that you know, over time, you'll naturally pick up the signs when paying attention to the target. Although sometimes there can be lapses in your concentration from you being tired of losing games for multiple hours straight. Then reacting to a target when late to notice a direction change is always better than predicting. Keep aiming the same direction until the target notifies you they change direction. Never do it early. Never ever predict. Unless there is a 100% reason why the prediction is true due to the environment or geometry on the map. But if you want to win your games for multiple hours straight, then join my Discord for coaching. I've helped so many people get the perfect tracking they want in record time. Even though I'm the one teaching these guys, even I'm surprised how good they get. I'm telling you, they were dog shit before I coached them. Some of them compete with pros with the perfect mechanics I teach, like how to strafe the fastest as well as how to never get hit and control your opponent's strafe. There are a ton of guaranteed game-winning strategies that I don't share in my videos. Discord link in description and pin comment. As I was saying before, this guy interrupted with an ad that we do not care about. This all comes down to hand-eye coordination, and these are the two inputs that actually create the effect of having good aim. If you focus on how you use your hand/thumb and eyes, you'll improve really fast. Now it's starting to sound like you could have perfect aim from all of this, but the problem is that there are other variables like your movement and recoil messing you up. So here's how you get rid of that. First is true zero recoil. You need to force recoil smoothing in your game. This happens whenever your crosshair is moving, and the more it moves, the less recoil there is. And yes, this is doable and easy on controller for all y'all who don't want to believe it and make excuses. Same goes for M&K. In my last video, I basically said just smoothly move the crosshair, but some people had issues, so just move yourself more. If you are moving more, then you're going to have to move your crosshair more to keep it on target when they are far away. So in return, this will give you no recoil as a side effect. That's why you can see people doing long strafes side to side when aiming at farther targets. And for aiming at mid-range to close range, you already have to move your crosshair enough to keep it on target. So if you're actually aiming at them, you'll be rewarded with zero recoil. I had to say this because I've seen tons of people out there claim streamers, the most normal clips, or even I'm cheating somehow. When this automatically happens, if you are moving the crosshair enough, stop making excuses and start clapping, kids. Pause. But this also means too much movement can mess up your recoil and your aim. A lot of the time, I see people frantically move side to side for no reason, getting beamed and letting their whole team down. The problem with this is their hitbox is barely moving. Plus, if you're on controller, this movement is slowed because you have a dead zone. So you end up just getting beamed anyway. And if you're moving like this means you have to consciously correct for each movement you're doing, making it harder for you. But I'm not saying that short strafes aren't useful. There's just a time and place for everything and are certainly helpful when you incorporate them into your dodging. But because there's a lack of strafing and dodging knowledge out there, I have a solution for everyone. It's how to strafe to maximize your damage. You do that by strafe aiming and getting angles. I'm going to give a quick and very basic rundown of strafe aiming because this isn't a strafing video. But the one rule for strafe aiming is you only change directions when your opponent changes. First is mirroring. This is when you go the same direction of your opponent. It's useful when they aren't looking at you or have the HP advantage, since you'll both be hitting each other for the same amount because you're moving in the same direction, unless they're just really bad or you caught them off guard. Second is anti-mirroring. This is where you move the opposite direction of your opponent. This makes it harder for both of you to aim because it forces more mouse control or joystick movement, but this makes micro corrections easier. But the third is a new one on the channel, and that's half sideways mirroring, and I am not sorry for gatekeeping. This is when you strafe diagonal to the person, either backwards or forwards. You can do this while mirroring or anti-mirroring them. I'd recommend using this mostly when you have a big enough vertical gap between you and the enemy, because on their screen you're moving in 2 dimensions. However, this is really slow movement, so do it at your own risk. All these can tremendously boost your aim against people who don't abuse them, but there's one thing you should add to your gameplay that doesn't get talked about enough and could be the difference in you winning every fight, even against pros: getting angles. When you're strafing against people, there's ways to make it fair, and then there's ways to make it unfair. We call these advantages. Which is easier, when the target is strafing and you're over here, or when the target is strafing and you're here? If you get on your side to your opponent, it makes it way easier for you to aim at them and way harder for them to aim at you, because to you, they are moving way slower and you don't need the full 90-degree angle for an advantage. Even a slight angle with you out of their crosshair will give you benefits. All right, thanks for watching. See you again in 6 months.